Hit it.
And now, for my next trick, I will get the crazy left-wing Democrats, and boy, are they crazy, to support Iran and the Ayatollahs over their own country. Drum roll, please. Abracadabra, poof!
Take it away, Democrats.
Because the supreme leader of Iran is dead, do you agree with him? Is the world now safer, Senator?
Well, I agree with that part. I mean, it's a good thing that the supreme leader is gone and some of the folks around him. And
broadly speaking, do you support this military operation?
well, I want to see a strategy. And I mean, broadly, no.
This is an illegal war. I have a war powers resolution queued up for vote this week, and I'm encouraging my colleagues to assert.
Joining us now is Connecticut Democratic Senator Chris Murphy. Good morning.
Good morning.
You have called for Congress to return to Washington and to vote on whether to try to essentially halt this military action. No war powers resolution has ever overcome a presidential veto. Why do you think you need to take one?
Well, nobody in this country is asking for war with Iran, just like months ago, no one in this country was asking for war with Venezuela. This president is intentionally tanking our economy. He's the
Khomeini was a brutal dictator, but Americans are not safer today.
Senator Adam Schiff of California. Senator Schiff, thank you for joining us this morning. Ayatollah Khamenei led a regime that brutalized its own people, launched attacks around the world for almost 40 years. So is the president right to take him out?
No. That's 50 years, George. 50 years, not 40.
And now, from a secret location outside of Hooker, Oklahoma, nestled in our DEFCON 1 priority bunker, safely ensconced hundreds of feet below the fruited plains where America grows her amber waves. Articulating profundities with humor and perspicacity seldom heard between these purple mountains' majesty. It's the Jay Thomas Show, with your humble host, Jay Thomas.
And thank you, Alex. Thank you very much. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Jay Thomas Radio. Radio on the right. Your healthy internet addiction. Post to all those others. There you have it. There you have it. You have the leadership of the Democrats saying the same thing they've said for 50 years. For 50 years, this has been going. I was in what, 9th grade? 47 years? Is that what you're telling me? What? 47 years? Oh, Cece. I swear. Pick a unit. For 50 years. I'm using 50, dear. 50 years. The Ayatollahs, the numerous Ayatollahs, the IGRCs, all the Iranian Republican Guards, the this and that. I don't know. I don't know which one had the Republican Guards. That was Iraq? Well, it doesn't matter. Whatever, all these clowns call themselves. They got all these medals hanging off them. They had toilet brushes. They got all sorts of crap. I don't know and I don't care. They're all terrorists, and they've been terrorizing the world for 50 years. Excuse me 1 second. Hey, excuse me. I really do need a cough button. I don't think it would have helped, though. That one. All right, this goes back 50 years, and I'm sorry, it's 47 years. Okay, Cece. It goes back to Jimmy freaking Carter, the second worst president we ever had, next to Joe senile Biden. They're both crap, both Democrats. The Rat Party has done nothing but screw this country for hundreds of years. The Civil War, that's what the Democrats did. let's stay on Khomeini. I don't want to get off on all the crap that Democrats did, but let's take a look. It goes back to Jimmy Carter, and they say this nicely. It's like Ayatollah Khomeini deceived the Jimmy Carter administration. Yeah, he deceived. He lied to them. If you would have just looked at what this guy was, you would have known what he was going to do. He promised that he would keep Iran united and continue selling oil to us. He'd keep the Soviets out. He wouldn't be hostile to Washington. He was going to be a good buddy. They reached out to the White House to prevent. We had a U.S.-backed military coup in process. They didn't want to do that. They said, no, let's work. Let's work with Khomeini. That's what Jimmy Carter wanted to do. His administration believed that Khomeini would be a religious leader, quote unquote, and he would not run the government directly. And, if they just got rid of the Shah. And what happened? Well, we had 52 of our citizens at the embassy kidnapped, tortured for 444 days. If you want to see a great movie about this, it's Argo. Argo. Never mind. I was going to say a bad word, but this is something that I'm just. If you don't know this history, go back. Google's your friend, or Ping or whatever they call it. DuckDuckGo, go and just put in Jimmy Carter's administration and Khomeini and the Ayatollah. You will read more crap. And he was fooled. He sat there listening to a guy who was behind. They were behind kidnappings. They were behind hijackings. But no. We're going to work with this guy. And later on, Carter he expressed regret. I was wrong. We had a mission to save them, which a lot of brave Americans went on, and they died. And why did they die? Because Jimmy Carter cut the military budget so bad, they didn't have the material. They didn't have the materials necessary to fight in a desert war. They didn't have the screens that go on the helicopter engines, and the engines just sucked up sand. And they blew, and they there was other things, but they blew up. I mean, this was an embarrassment. We were so embarrassed, I couldn't believe it. And I was in ninth grade or something like that. And this continued for over a year. Hold on. I'm gonna try to find the Nightline, the news broadcast Nightline that was on for like 10 years. It started because of this, and I'm gonna get this. Let me get a recording of it. Hold on. Okay, I just picked out a day. I just typed it in and picked it out because it didn't matter what day it was over those 144 days or 444 days. It went something like this. And there was fallout. There was big fallout. Let's hit it.
Day 142 of the Iran hostage crisis. And the Shah's arrival in Egypt complicates efforts to free the hostages. We'll talk about that tonight with the top Iranian diplomat in this country and with the wife of one of the hostages. Tomorrow, it's the New York and Connecticut primaries. Very likely make it or break it time for Edward Kennedy.
This is ABC News Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel.
March 24th, 1980. 1980. Not 2019, not 2020, not 2010. 1980. Figure out the math on that. And this went on. Ted Kennedy, the Chappaquiddick, this was their best guy. This was the Democrats' best guy, was Ted Kennedy, who murdered a young lady while driving drunk in Chappaquiddick. Right? But it didn't matter They wanted to replace Carter so bad because they knew Carter was going to lose to Reagan. They knew it, and they threw Kennedy at him, and he beat them down, and And then when Reagan won, Carter wouldn't even shake his hand. They sat in the limo going to the inauguration, not talking to each other, because he wouldn't say anything to Reagan. What a little scumbag. Everybody thinks that Jimmy Carter was so great. He wasn't. He was a scumbag. All right, so okay, that's just one. We went through this for 444 days. Day one of the hostage crisis, and Ted Koppel would come on and explain what's going on, and they would have some Iranian that is now, or was part of the Iranian hierarchy, and they would say a bunch of bull crap. They would just lie. Oh no, we're not really. We want peace, but we're not going to release your hostages. This went on for 400. What do you think would happen if Trump had a group of our citizens in just pick a country out there, and look what they tried to do in Pakistan, in our embassy, and we yeeted like 10 of them. That's Trump responding. Jimmy Carter was to fold. It was to fold. If you watch Argo, just remember some of that stuff is editorial license, but it's pretty much true. They got him out of there by faking a movie, like a Star Wars movie. 1 second. So, for 50 years, way over half my life, I've been dealing with Iran, and finally, you understand something. There was a game being played here. There was game theory. This has been Iran's game theory for years. Okay, the game theory that Iran is playing was chicken. There's actually a game theory about that, and the chicken game theory model is a strategic decision making model in which two people, the U.S. and Iran, are on a high stakes confrontation. One of them is going to lose, and they're going at each other head on, but one of them is going to have to swerve. And it's always been Iran. They've always swerved, but they're using they're part of their strategy. Excuse me. Is that the brinkmanship? A part of their strategy is that they use proxies. After the negotiations are always over, you have Hamas, you have Hezbollah, you have all these other terrorists going after Americans, going after our allies, going after the world, really. While they're going, the end game for Iran was nuclear weapons, and the end game was to get rid of Israel, and they were serious about it. There was this thing called the 12th Imam. Look that up. Hold on. Look that up. Look up the 12th Imam, because they didn't care. They didn't care if they started a nuclear war. That was part of their strategy. The end game to them was to get rid of Israel, and they thought if they got rid of Israel, the rest of the world would say, "Okay, all right, you got rid of your boogeymen. Now we can be cool with you." They really thought that, and they didn't care if that's not what happened. If we turn them into glass, it would be the great 12th Imam would come down. Did you look that up? All right, send that to me. All right, I'm going to get listen to this story. Listen to this insanity. Okay, the 12th Imam. Now, tell me, you have Schiff, that little pasty-faced pedophile. You have Schiff, and you have Ro Khanna, and you have Massey, the Soros lackey, and you have all these people against Donald Trump doing this, right? But they've never stepped up in the past 50 years. The Democrats have never stepped up to stop Iran. Just stop it. And that's what we're doing right now. We're stopping it. And I'm going to tell you something. The Iran getting a nuclear weapon, the first thing they would have done is use it on Israel, because they not only did they tell you they were going to do that, what they wanted was a version of October 7th that would horrify the world so much that you would agree that after that, okay, we can deal with you now that you got rid of your boogeyman. But that's not even the point. Listen to this. The 12th Imam is a central mystic figure in Iran's 12th Shia Islam, believed to be the Masonic savior, in hiding since the 10th century. He's a little old. He's really breaking the bank there on Social Security. Who will return to establish global justice, the Iranian state ideology, particularly under hardline leaders like Muhammad Ahmadinejad, whatever that guy is. He's dead now. Okay, and the implication was to use to frame the Iranian nuclear program as preparing for the apocalypse or defending against foreigners, particularly the U.S. And Israel. So here's the thing. It didn't matter. Even if we bombed them back to the Stone Age, which is not very far, even if we nuked them, they wouldn't care, because the 12th Imam would then come down and save the planet, I guess. I don't know. He's been in hiding since the 10th century. If your Imam is so powerful, why is he in hiding? Where is he hiding? Detroit? Minnesota? I don't understand. See, it is a cult of death. And that's what they were, and that's what they always were going to be. But they used the chicken game, the chicken game with the nuclear standoff. Look up game theory. It's the weak actor deterrence. And in MBA school, we learned we had this game theory. We had a whole semester on games theory, and we were playing another school on game theory, and we would sit there. We would choose A, and they would choose B. Go back and forth, and it was actually really cool. And I can't remember half of it, but this is the game theory they were playing. They were playing chicken, and they lost, because guess who doesn't play the chicken game? Trump. He plays the Minimax. He's maximizing his individual gain while establishing leverage and creating unpredictability. And that's what he is. He was unpredictable. He was going. Can you imagine that you have dealt with Trump before? Just last year, and Trump's talking to you, and he's saying, you guys got to come to an agreement. And in the meantime, they have two aircraft carrier task force starting to surround your nation. And it's surrounding I got to do this so you can see it. They're surrounding your nation. And you're like, we'll pick this up next week. And they've been picking this up next week for 50 years. Trump was not going to put up with that. And listen, see if this sounds familiar. This is the Madman theory, by the way. But it's a zero, so it's a Minimax. It's one of the Minimax theories. And the Madman theory, the recurring strategy is to act erratically to confuse opponents, a concept that aligns with making one's actions and intentions unpredictable. And Trump does that. He wrote a whole book about it. All you got to do is pick up his book. It's on Amazon. You can get it. And I guess the Imam, the Ayatollah, doesn't have Amazon because he didn't get the book. The man, it's similar to the irrationality theory, and where one appears willing to do something outrageous, like I don't know, like walking away from the deal or taking huge risks. That's what it is. That make no logical sense in the short term, forcing the other side to capitulate to avoid total collapse. Well, they didn't capitulate. It goes along with the chicken theory. They were playing chicken with the wrong man. And thank God, because Trump is even cleaning up Jimmy Carter's mess. He has to clean up Biden's mess. He has to clean up Jimmy Carter's mess. Jimmy Carter, 50 years ago, a clown. And he left us with Iran. And then what did O'Bastard do? O'Bastard flies in about $6 billion. What does Biden do? Allows him to sell oil. So he's been cleaning up, Trump has been cleaning up, and this is America first. I hate to tell you this, because you can go, no, it's not. He's supposed to concentrate on egg prices. Well, egg prices are coming down. I just paid $6.48 for 5 dozen eggs. So stuff it. But this is, I love this because it is a zero-sum game. The way that Trump plays it, but he's trying to minimize his losses while maximizing his potential wins, and it's for him the potential win is the least of the win. You know, he's not going to get this, but he's going to get this. He's going to get the least of all the other wins. So here's what Trump frequently acts first to set the terms of the engagement, and that's the first mover advantage. But you have to have credible threats, and Trump has credible threats. He warned them. You know that mission, was it Velvet Hammer or something? No, Night, was it? Yeah, look that up. I can't have you look up everything, but it's the Velvet Hammer or whatever. When the B-12s went over, or B-2s went over and knocked out the entrances to their nuclear cave. That was a warning. And they said, okay. And yeah, they took out a lot of that nuclear stuff. They didn't get all of it. And they were starting to, like the next day, they're out there digging it out. So they probably had people stuck down there. But that's not the point. The point is they didn't stop. And he told them to stop. Trump told him, hey, man, you better stop. Come to the table, talk to us. He allowed them an entire year to talk. And they didn't talk. They didn't do it. They did the same thing they do all the time. They stall. They have proxies interfere with them. The proxies are the Democrat Party, by the way. Hold on, I gotta sneeze. Hold on. Sorry about that. Still coughing, still sneezing. But it was 80 degrees here. Everything's coming up. I know. I was out doing the yard work the other day. So I'm sorry. But here's the thing: he offered them a win-win situation, which is part of the Madman theory, oddly enough. And it's a zero-sum game though with him. They were playing chicken when the Iran's playing chicken game. They're zooming off, and then they would come back and go, let's play this again, and they'd zoom off, and they would wait time. They had all the time in the world, they thought. That no one was going to do this. You haven't done it for 50 years, half a century. For half a century, we've been dicking around with you. And now, what? You going to do this to us? Get out of here. You're not going to do anything. Well, that's not Trump. So, Trump did what he does best. This is the art of the deal. You should have taken, Ayatollah, you should have taken the deal. You didn't take the deal. And now you're dealing with the consequences. And this is going to go, somebody shot down, 3 of our F-15s? How the hell did they do that? Oh, they have our missiles. Oh. So we had Kuwait shoot down some of our aircraft. Pilots escaped, thank God. And we've had 5 injuries, 3 deaths so far. Maybe 4, I'm hearing, but and every member of the military knows that when you put on boots in the morning, you might not come back. And let's pray for those that are fallen, and show them some respect. But they won't. The Democrats are already using the deaths of our servicemen as a bludgeon. And they're being pro Iran. If you don't believe me, look at it. All the Iranians are out there whooping it up, saying thank you, Trump. And then you see a bunch of blue-haired a-hole awfuls and their fat boyfriends who, of course, are, just watched him and just had their cuck chair out. And their blue-haired boyfriends, too. And they're all out there with big signs already printed. Thank you, George Soros. And then you have Massey with Ro Khanna. That was Ro Khanna in one of those things. Oh, yeah, it's really great that they're gone, but we're not safer. Yeah, we are. We're a hell of a lot safer. And by the end of this, I'm going to make this prediction. By the end of this, they are going to start having, they're going to have trials for the people who are left in Iran. The Iranians are going to have, they're going to have a new government, and they're going to have trials for the people that have been oppressing them for 50 fucking years. And I get some people in my mentions, and some people are actually thought, hey, this has been the Iranians' fault. Yeah, okay, it was the Iranians' fault back in the 1970s. I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm not saying that they liked them at one point. Doesn't matter. What matters is now. And you don't want them having a nuclear weapon and ballistic. They're working on ballistic missiles and nuclear weapons a mile underground, and you're like, well, they never attacked us. Really? They never attacked us? Tucker Carlson actually said that. The Iranians have never attacked us directly. Yeah, they have. Yeah, they have. Yes, they have. And it doesn't mean that their 12th Imam and all the other garbage that they have, they were broadcasting very loudly what they were going to do because they didn't care. If you nuke them, they don't care. I know that's hard to believe, but if you retaliated after they used nukes on Israel and you retaliated, to them that was, you were fulfilling the 12th Imam's mystical 10th century writings or some bullshit like that. Don't just do a little reading. Do a little reading since 1979 and quit falling for the Massey Democrat George Soros bullshit. Just do me a favor. That much. Just that much. All right, we're going to get out of here. I'm going to post this, and I got to go to a doctor's appointment. I don't know what it is. I must be allergic to something. So take us out of here. I can take us out of here. I'll take us out of here. Still picking. We're still here because we're not insane imams in Iraq. I have a towel around my head. Do I look like I have a towel around my head? You just look up the art of the deal, and then just put in Donald Trump's game theory on Iran. Pretty simple. It's really easy. All right, we love you, people. Thank you for tuning in.